see yourself in the mirror the way that your mom and dad see you, the way that your best friend sees you, the way that, the one person that you know you are. Just have that confidence. You don't have to be cocky, but you can be confident. And if your name is Kimmie Sue, then don't change it to Kim or Kimberly.
No, be Kimmie Sue.
Yes, yes. Be
Oh,
magical.
be
Be
magical.
magical.
You are listening to the Midlife with Courage podcast. This is where women in midlife come for inspiration, motivation, and sometimes a little education to help them flourish after 40. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Midlife with Courage. I'm Kim Benoit, your host, and I'm so happy to have you here. I'm also very happy to have my guest here today with me. Her name is Kimmie Sue Hall. Welcome to the podcast, Kimmie
Hi,
Sue.
hi, Kim. Hi. Oh, my magical clock it's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock. There we go. We're right on time. So, welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited to have you. We're going to have just a fun conversation today, but why don't you just start and tell us where in the world you are and what you're doing?
Well, I'm in my house, in my kitchen. And my magical clock my husband Bruce got me years ago at Disney is it chimes on the hour and plays magical songs. So
That's
that's
okay.
what the little noise was. But it's I'm in my kitchen at our little table, and we're surrounded by our family, and this is Bruce's idea. Actually, put all of our family around us, so
I
it
love it.
actually encompasses all four corners, and we change them out. But
Very
I'm in
cool.
Orlando, Florida, and where we live, and that's what I'm doing and where I'm at.
That's what you're doing. We call you the most magical person we know because you are so magical. So, but before we jump into why you're so magical, we'll talk about that. Tell us about a time when you felt courageous or you showed courage.
Okay, wow. Well, let's just dive right in. It's a pretty intense time in my life. I have a very dear friend who I've had for gosh, close to 40 years now, who was battling alcoholism. And everyone seemed to see it before I did. I didn't want to admit it. I love her with all my heart. And husband Bruce, who is actually a recovering alcoholic for 26 years now, which is such a blessing, he actually brought it to my attention and said, you love her, you need to talk to her. And it was scary to talk to her, and it was scary to bring that up because, of course, at first she didn't want to hear it, and she thought I was crazy and I was betraying her. And she's the godparent of our boys, and it's much too long to get into, but it was really hard to muster up that courage to talk to her. And I basically said, if you don't believe me and if you don't listen and you don't get help, you're going to lose not only your family, but you can't be the godmother of my boys anymore. I have to trust you. I love
Mhm.
you. And she's been sober 10 years now, almost 11 in July. And
Yeah.
when you hear her talk about what was what really pushed her over the edge, it was that conversation that I had with her. And sometimes love is not magical. Sometimes love is not easy. And if anyone is struggling and sees someone struggling, having the courage to try and save them, because it truly can save their life. It can save, not just the quality of their life, but their life, other people's lives. To this day, I'm so grateful that I had, the courage. I prayed on it a lot, and I really had to do it in my own way. But if you're in that position, I feel like, everything happens for a reason. And when we share our stories like that, it may inspire somebody else, because everybody is touched by alcoholism or addiction of some
Mhm.
sort, whether it's alcoholism or drugs, or, there's all sorts of addiction. She actually goes to a wonderful program now called Celebrate Recovery. That is incredible. And it handles all forms of addiction. But just, being there for her to this day, she's so solid now. But I
Mm.
look back on that, and that was one of the hardest things I
I
ever had.
bet. Like you said, it touches everybody. And thank God that you were able to talk to her because there's been situations that did not turn out so well
Right.
that I
It's
know of.
super
So, yeah.
it's super uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's life or death. I look back and I'm so grateful for us both now, because I cannot live without this person. This person
Mm.
is everything to me and to my boys and
Your
my
boys.
family. I mean, and it's
Yep.
such a beautiful thing. And she's the best mom and wife and best grandma, and it's
Mm.
like now we share everything together like we always had. And I'm,
Yeah.
So anybody
Wonderful.
that's struggling with that, don't be afraid. Muster up that courage because you have nothing to lose. You have everything to lose if
Yep.
you don't, right?
Right, right, for sure. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing that. So you just retired from, and I don't like that. You're too young to retire. That
Oh,
word just, you
that's
know what I mean?
yeah.
So tell everyone where you retired from.
Well, the most magical place on earth, and I've probably said magical 20 times already on this podcast. I can't help it, y'all. It's just who I am. I was born to be a Disney cast member, and I was super blessed. I started my career at the Disney store in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Ah,
Assistant store manager there is where I started out, and then transferred in 1998 to Walt Disney World and followed my dreams of always working at Disney World. And so after
yeah,
30 years, on my exact 30th company anniversary, it was my last day. And
you were
so,
done. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. So what was it about Disney that you had to be there? You had to be part of it.
Well, my dad, Tommy P. Ray, the most magical man on earth. If you think I was magical, oh my Lord, this man just was my whole world. I was definitely a daddy's girl, and he took me to Disney World 49 times before I was there. It was always our
Oh,
family trip, and he loved it. And we would land in Orlando from Tulsa, and he'd look at me and he'd go, "Welcome home." He just knew I was supposed to be here. This is the exact same man who would stand in line with me all night long to buy REO Speedwagon tickets as well. I
ah,
was obsessed with two things as from a little girl, REO Speedwagon and Mickey
my
Mouse.
gosh.
It makes a ton of sense now.
It sure does. Oh my gosh. People, dreams come true. Just gonna tell you that.
That's it. That's it. Yes. Yes, they absolutely do. I definitely had the dream of always working for Disney. I did not necessarily have a dream of marrying a rock star. That just kind of happened. But I'm super grateful for it. And but no, I Disney was just something. I actually went to school to be a band director. My major was instrumental music education,
Okay.
and had surgery to take my wisdom teeth out, and they severed the nerve. And I still to this day cannot feel from right here to here.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
numb, and I played clarinet and saxophone. So my embouchure was shot. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had always loved Disney. I'd always dreamed of working at Disney World. But I thought I was going to be a band director. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, life happens and you have to pivot. And I
Mm.
walked to a Disney store in Tulsa at the mall. I'm like, well, the only other thing I love and know what to do is Disney. And the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I met you through Ario, but learned about Disney too, and you helped us a lot with Disney. But what are some favorite parts of working for Disney that you can share with us?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I think, well, in my 30-year career, 17 years of it was at the Epcot. Epcot, I say the in front of everything because I'm from the Oklahoma, but that's a whole nother
The
story.
Oklahoma, yeah.
The Oklahoma, going to the Walmart. I didn't
Yep.
know I said the in front of everything until I moved here, and everybody goes, "Do you know you say the in front of?" So now I do, but I can't help it. But 17 years of my career were at the Epcot, and
Mhm.
a portion of that we have these marketing campaigns. And one of the marketing campaigns was the Year of a Million Dreams, which ended up being 27 months. So over 2 years of the Year of a Million Dreams. And I was selected to run the Dream Squad. And the Dream Squad really went around. We gave away Nights in Cinderella's Castle, we gave Fats Passes away. And it was a super awesome, amazing job that I got to run and select these phenomenal cast members to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so I got to interview them and I got to lead them and meet so many amazing, not just cast members, but the guests when they couldn't believe they were winning something, let alone,
Yeah.
spending the night in Cinderella's castle or Disney cruises or the Grand Marshal in every parade across the
My
Disney parks
gosh.
worldwide. Like, I mean, we really got to, you talk about making dreams come true, and that's our
Yeah.
slogan. That we really got to do it. Bruce calls it my Grammy year. It was like, oh my Lord. If I had Dream Squad to this day, like it was just I would
Oh my
probably
gosh.
never retire because it was just the most phenomenal. So that time in my life, unbelievable. But I was fortunate to be guest relations. I was over guest relations there. I opened lots of really cool attractions. I opened the original test track, trained on the whole front of the park.
Oh
So
my
we used
gosh.
to ride segways. I was the park duty manager, which took a
Mhm.
lot of courage to run a theme park full of tens of thousands of people. And I think being Kimmie Sue, right? So my name tag said Kimmie Sue from Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
right? And I think when I first got to the big Disney, I thought, well, maybe I better be Kim or Kimberly, right? Like,
Hmm.
and as a Kim,
Yep.
there's tons of us from our age and our era, right? There were seven
Yeah.
Kimberlys in my kindergarten class, and my
Oh my
teacher,
gosh.
you're Kim, you're Kimbo, you're Kimmer, you're Kimmie Sue, and I was like, okay, I'm Kimmie Sue, and to this day, I don't turn around if somebody says Kim,
Yeah.
and I have great leaders say, be who you are. Be who you are. People will remember you and have courage and faith to own who you are, right? And
Right.
you'll do just fine. And I got to own it.
I
I got
love
to
it.
own it.
Yeah.
I,
You are Kimmie Sue. I couldn't even think of calling you anything
right?
else. Yes, right.
Bruce
I
calls
know.
me Kimma, though. He calls
Yeah.
me Kimma, and he spells it Kimmay. We don't know why. We are, but
The
that's
Y
just
is silent.
so when he calls me Kimmie, I'm in trouble. There's something has gone wrong, or he's looking at like the American Express bill, Kimmie, but
Oh,
Kimma, I'm good.
that's funny. Know how that goes. Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah. I can't imagine having that job. It doesn't even sound like a job. It's just spreading happiness to people all day, every day. And yeah, how wonderful is that?
yeah. There's some parts of it, at the end of the career, I was in accounting, so that was
Oh,
not
well.
cool and fun, right? And then, but I did get to learn a lot of really amazing skills, and so scheduling and numbers and budgets, and all of the stuff that everybody does, in the corporate world. I just got to have a magical portion of it,
Yeah.
and I highly recommend, if working for Disney is the best job. Bruce and I fight a lot about who had the best job in our family, and I think
Oh, yes, yes. It's kind of a toss up, isn't it, there,
it
whichever
is.
way you look at
It
it.
is. But our son Tommy now is a cast member, and he loves it as much as I did. He was born to
Oh,
do it
that's
too.
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And since you brought Tommy up, and it's okay to call him Tommy, right? I think,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like me, right? Like, and
yeah.
Tommy's name is Tommy. It's not Thomas. He's named after my daddy,
Oh,
and
sure.
grandpa named my dad Tommy, and
Okay.
so his name is Tommy, and he goes by both. He goes by Tommy or Tom.
Oh,
But
okay.
Kim, when you talk about it, like he, when he became a cast member,
Mhm.
he had to say what he wanted on his name tag. And he said, well, what do you think, Mom? And I said, well, what are you comfortable with? And he goes, well, I go by both. And I said, do you want to be remembered? Then you be Tommy from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that's what he has.
There you
And
go.
it suits him. He just,
Yeah.
it suits him. So
Oh my gosh.
he's my Tommy.
You're Tommy. And I remember him from just being a little boy,
Oh, right.
and now he's a daddy himself.
We're so proud of him. Yeah. Bruce
Yeah.
calls him Tom. Anytime Tommy hasn't lived here in years, right? He's an adult grown man, right?
Yep.
And anytime Bruce cannot find anything, you'll hear him throughout the house. Tom, Tom has stolen everything. Everything's gone. Everything is Tommy's fault.
So speaking of Tommy, you went through something pretty challenging with Tommy. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's important because just as we talked about how folks deal with addiction and alcoholism can touch many families, unfortunately, so many families are touched by cancer.
Mhm.
And in 2017, it was, something we were never expecting to happen. It was Easter Sunday, so almost,
Mhm.
exactly to the day. He was working, we live in a community, a golf course community, and it has a clubhouse and kind of like a country club, and there's a restaurant. And Tommy has worked there. Well, not now, he works at Disney, but before he worked since he was 14. Our kids,
Mhm.
Bruce Hall runs a tight ship. Your dad may be a rock star, but everybody's going to work and become good citizens. So
Love it.
Tommy was at 14, busting tables, and he worked his way up, to server and eventually bar manager there. But it was in 2017, he had worked Easter brunch, comes home, and he says, Mom, I've got to show you something. And never in a million years, Kim, did I think, and I'm sorry if we're going to get a little graphic
That's
here,
okay.
he had to show me his testicle. And I went, oh, there's a lump on it. And I'm like, does it hurt? Like, I don't have testicles. I don't know, and they tell us as women to check our breasts constantly. I mean, do you
Mm.
ever remember a time that you were not reminded to check for lumps in your breasts, right? But you
Nope.
never hear them to tell your boys, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, what thank God Bruce was home. And because Bruce on tour, very rarely home. When something hit the fan, Bruce was, in Wisconsin
Well,
or
hey, sorry.
yeah, at the Dells, it was never home, never home. When Timmy's appendix ruptured, Bruce was in Wisconsin. It seems like
Oh.
Wisconsin. Sorry.
So he's not coming to Wisconsin anymore, I guess.
Oh yeah. But so Bruce was home and he was in the garage and so he comes in and he's like, "Oh no." And that was Easter Sunday.
Mm.
By Thursday, it was removed. His testicle was removed. That's
Wow.
how aggressive his doctors were. And whenever it's testicular cancer, they cannot biopsy because when they biopsy, it can maybe spread. So they don't biopsy, but they pretty much knew. And it was me that was like, I knew it was cancer. And Bruce was
Mm.
convinced it wasn't. Bruce was on tour
Mm.
once we got the results, but he was like, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's nothing, it could just be, and he was the one who was like, no, he was in denial, but it turned out it was cancer. And 17 years old, like, and by the time it, we had to start chemo, he had just turned 18. So now he's an adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't let the parents in. Anyway, it was quite the time in our life. So Tommy, he had testicular cancer. They thought they had got it and all. He had 6 rounds of chemo, but we found that it had spread to his kidney and his lymph nodes.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, which is about an hour and a half from where we live at. And thank goodness that we were referred there. And we met a doctor named Dr. Spees, who is a rare GU cancer specialist there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was phenomenal. He was supposed to go teach a seminar in Chicago. We met with him like on a Thursday, and Monday Tommy had the surgery and for his kidney, removed his kidney and 29
Wow.
lymph nodes. And they got so close to, his spine and there were so many, worrisome things. And, long story short, thank God he's cancer free and has been now
Yay.
for 8 years, which is such a blessing. And it rocked our world. One thing you talk about being courageous. Tommy
Mm.
is, he was in college when this all started. And
Wow.
it was his first year of college. He got to march with the marching band one year, one semester, and then they found it, and he
That
didn't
was,
get to march anymore. And the doctor said, you really probably should stop going to school for a couple of years. You really need to focus. And he listened. He's a smart kid, and he listened, and he was like, I really don't want to stop.
mm.
and and I'm like, okay. And I was ready to quit. I was ready to, Bruce was ready to quit. Like Bruce was like, we can postpone everything. And
Yeah.
he goes, if I keep going, you guys keep going. And so we kept
Mm.
going. And Tommy had to take one semester over in
Mm.
school, but through the entire thing, and he
Wow.
graduated on time.
Good for
And
him.
I'm so proud of him. But it really kept me like, it kept me working in Disney again, the best company in the world. Like
Mhm.
anything I needed, they were there.
Yeah.
Obviously I had to go to Tampa several times, but they were very accommodating. And
Mm.
Bruce literally flew home every day he could. Like he'd have
Yeah.
one day off and fly home. And you don't know what you're capable of. I thought if you'd have told me, Kim, like 6 months before, okay, we've got a crystal ball.
Mhm.
Uh, your kid's going to have cancer. I would picture myself under the table in a ball, going, oh my
Sure.
God, my life, what can I do? I'm
Yeah.
devastated. You just, but as moms, we can't fall apart. And
Mhm.
my son didn't let me fall apart,
Mhm.
and so his strength really guided us. And it became a family affair. Now he does commercials for Moffitt. He
Yeah.
mentors kids because testicular cancer is heavy, right? Like you
Right.
don't, they removing your ball. So
Yeah.
listen to the halls and check your balls, people. And to all you moms out there that have boys, start talking about it early, because the fact that we are so open as a family and talk to our kids about everything
Mhm.
is why he came immediately to us too.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, like, what 17-year-old boy is gonna do that unless you have that kind of relationship or,
right,
tell you.
it's the number one cancer in young men between 18 and 35. And
Wow.
you sit there and now I know tons of folks that have it, and they've come to Tommy, and we banked his sperm
Mhm.
before his chemo because he
Ah,
was told he would not be able to have kids. But guess what? God had a plan. And our sweet little granddaughter Penny, she's our
oh,
lucky Penny, and conceived naturally. We didn't even have to get those sperms out. Like it was.
really?
Yes, yes, she was conceived naturally
Well,
on the
I
day.
did not know that.
Yes, the kids got married in June of 2022,
Mhm.
and she showed up in 2023,
Oh
and
my gosh.
they had a whole plan. They had like 4 years. They were being
Wow.
careful because they were told Tom, couldn't.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I did not know that. I just assumed that,
No, no. So and
oh,
when we have a foundation now. REO Speedwagon has a foundation at Moffitt Cancer Center,
hmm,
um, just specifically for rare cancers like this. And
yeah.
so Dr. Speeds can bring in folks and teach them, how to do the surgeries and how the preventative maintenance and everything that they do there at Moffitt. That's so
Wow.
incredible, to save lives. And so the REO Speedwagon Foundation is there. And when we went, so Bruce goes and he actually will present plaques and things to the visiting doctors. Um,
Oh,
and when we all went as a family and just showed Tommy's doctor the sonogram, and he bawled. I mean, it was like
oh,
it's a miracle.
it
Like
is a miracle.
they are so amazing at Moffitt, and I'm
Yeah.
just so grateful to them, and will do anything for that place.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, of
so.
course. Of course. Oh, I'm learning something I didn't know. I think that's awesome. It's so important. Like you said, I didn't, well, I had daughters, first of all, but I still, we should hear things like this. Like that's the
I,
number one cancer. And
yeah.
yeah, tell your boys, check, listen to the halls and check your
Well,
balls.
check your balls.
Okay. Oh my
Doesn't
gosh.
sound like a very Disney thing to do, but it is.
It is. It is. It is. Yeah. And I love how you said too, as a mom, what you go through and what you thought we were going to be like. And
Oh,
you just got that strength from each other. I love that.
yeah, I never wish this journey on anyone, right? You would never
Right.
wish cancer on anyone, but what I saw
Yeah.
it do in a good light for our son,
Hmm.
like it really gave him perspective, and he's definitely me. He has no fear. He talks in front of anybody. He's very outgoing, and he's never met a stranger, and just is so kind and caring. And now that he has the ability to help other people and to
Yeah.
get them through that, and he talks so freely with it. He will
Yeah.
go through, I've heard him talk to guys, and he'll say, listen, this is exactly what they do. They're not going to open up your sack. They're going to go in through, above, and they're going to pull, and he just,
Yeah.
the way that he explains it, he's like, and it's okay. And it doesn't,
Oh
it,
my
you
gosh.
got to get used to it. It looks weird. He goes, but you'll be fine. And you can still do everything you did before. And
Yeah.
just giving somebody that real life, experience, and then having the compassion, and then knowing that, hey, this guy, he went through it.
Yeah.
It was scary, and usually testicular cancer doesn't spread, thank goodness, right?
Yeah.
Usually it doesn't spread, but to Tommy it did. And
Hmm.
so, and he just had his last scans, so he's good, cancer free. And like,
Wow.
we're always going to be worried about it, and we'll always be, his general practitioner will always be watching his blood counts and things like that. But
Hmm.
that's for everybody, and every day is a blessing. And
Yeah.
I feel like through his story, and because he's open and who he is, and the commercials that he's done, is he's able to save folks and giving those
Oh,
boys courage to come to somebody. you
yeah.
know
Say something. Yeah.
yeah, you
Don't be
have to
afraid.
you have
I
to
love I love that he's doing that. And that's directly from you and Bruce and how much you love him and support him. And you are going to be, you also have another son, Timmy, who's going to be going off to college. So you're going to be a little empty nester, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to college with Timmy.
Are you going with him? Is there a room for you?
But I'm from the Oklahoma, and that's where he's going. So
Oh, nice.
I was in the marching band growing up. Band was my life. Marching band was my life. I was the first girl drum major to ever win state in Oklahoma.
Yay.
Being a leader, it's definitely given me the skills to be a great leader for Disney.
Mhm.
So Timmy and Tommy was the drum major. Tommy played clarinet and saxophone, but somehow we birthed the drummer. I don't know
You sure
where the
did.
drum from, but by golly, we birthed the drummer, and this kid has got it and is amazing, and is just
Oh my gosh.
watching him is just he's just an amazing kid, and his
Yeah.
dream, he's got the Oklahoma fever. And Bruce keeps reminding me, he could go to Florida for free, or the
Yeah.
prepaid. And I'm like, but he's going to Oklahoma
He's
because that's
gone.
what he's born to be a Sooner. And that boy is excited. And so, my family's from there, and I'll definitely be
Yeah.
same with my dad. I only lived 2 hours from OU, and I went to school there. But my
Oh,
dad to every single game, every
yeah.
single football game to see me march, every single
Oh,
one. And so I have every intention to be at every single football game.
of course you are. I love that. So how is it going to feel? I know it's a little scary, but are you thinking, oh, I'm going to do some other things? I mean, I know you're going to be where he is on football games, but what do you think about that? How are you going to plan your time or spend your
Well,
time, do you think?
I had always thought that I would go out on tour with REO, right?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that's not going to happen, and
Yeah.
it's a darn shame. And I'm still working on getting my head around that piece of it,
Mm.
and watching, Bruce's entire life and career
Yeah.
go up in smoke. It
Yeah.
was an unfortunate situation.
Yes, it
And
was.
I sit here and I think about things, and it just kind of dawned on me recently. I always believe truly that everything happens for a reason, and I'm not 100% positive of why this happened, but I think that it may be because of this event in June. So REO is no longer, but Kevin left to go solo, and
Mhm.
and he has the Kevin Cronin band, and that's he can absolutely do that, right? But it
Mhm.
broke a lot of people's hearts, and a lot of fans were kind of left high and dry.
Yeah.
And so the city of Champaign, Illinois, reached out to Bruce and Neil and said, "Hey, we would love to have a farewell concert, like just letting you guys honor the legacy." And they got every other member of REO Speedwagon ever. There's going to be an amazing tribute to Gary Richrath
Oh my
and to
gosh.
Greg Philbin, the first bassist, right?
Yeah.
Bruce was there since 1976, right? There was a
Yeah.
guy before him, and I mean, and those wives of Gary and Greg are coming, and uh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and it's just going to be phenomenal. So Bruce agreed to do it if all the money would go to our foundation at Moffat.
I love that. I love that.
It's called a courage story, right? And we'd sent them, the promoters, the video of Tommy and his doctor, and they lost it. They were like, every dime, every dime. and
I love
and
it.
we're, none of the guys are getting paid, right? So it's like
Oh my gosh.
every dime is going to the REO Speedwagon Foundation. So we're going to be there. The doctor, the CEO of Moffat's going to be there, and what an amazing opportunity to not just raise money, but
Hmm.
to bring that awareness we just talked about.
Yeah.
And if Kevin going solo caused something like this to happen, and saves just one life, one kid that may be scared to talk to his parents, or
Yeah.
maybe a mom or dad might go home and have that conversation with their kid. If one person's life can be touched by this, maybe that's why it happened. So
Hmm.
I'm so grateful to be able to be a big part of this show
Wow.
coming up in June, and to give my husband the chance, and my best friend Neil Dowdy the chance to say goodbye to
Yeah.
all of these fans that have been so important to our family.
Mhm.
Uh, and so we're really excited about it, and we're really very grateful that God's brought this to us. And Bruce did not call and do this. Like, it was literally, he was contacted. Nobody picked a date that Kevin couldn't be there. No, the date was chosen in November, long before
Yeah.
Kevin's tour dates. And I think he
Right.
understands it now. And we still hope that he does something. If he can't get another band to fill in for that one night,
Mhm.
hopefully a video or
Yeah.
something.
Record something or do something.
Because the REO Speedwagon Foundation at Moffitt Cancer Center, there's three owners of REO, and Kevin's one of them, and that's his foundation too, right? And I believe in my heart he loves Tommy, and I
Mhm.
believe, I mean, he was right there. He knows what our family went through, and
Mhm.
um, it shook all of us, our family, our crew, our band. It was hard on everybody, and I know he remembers that. So I'm
Yeah.
sure he wants it to be as successful it can be. So
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to put this episode out before that so we can make sure people know more about it. But yeah, I'm that I don't even want to go into that whole thing. I felt so horrible for Bruce, and you and Bruce are the most wonderful people in the whole world. And yeah, so we won't go more into that, but I love that if anything good will come of it, I know that's what it will be to help spread awareness and maybe save some lives too. I think that's amazing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, and just, because I think you're coming, right?
Oh, I'm coming. It's
Yes,
the Benoi girls are coming.
I can't imagine the last show without the Benoit girls. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think like the set list, like everything that everybody's been asking for so many years and so many,
Oh,
it's gonna be it's as the biggest REO Speedwagon fan on the planet,
yep.
like I can't wait. I'm not
Oh my
watching it
gosh.
stage. I'm going out in the crowd with you people.
Yay. Well, you know what happened? People that know we have like a little group, we call ourselves the princesses because of
Yes,
Disney.
yes,
And we were getting tickets the day that they went on sale, and it just worked out that we all are sitting together. Like literally. Like,
Tickle. I love that.
yes. So we will be, you'll know where we are.
Yes, yes.
So yeah,
Well,
so come with us.
I will. I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, I
gonna
think I'm
be.
gonna have some Kleenex on me too, just in case.
I have to get there so early because I want to hug every single. I'm gonna hug 10,000 people. I'm
Oh
gonna
my gosh.
need to hug everybody because it's
Yeah.
like
It's gonna be
it.
amazing.
So okay. So
Yeah.
we've got one sidetrack, but a big piece of what I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna do after I retired
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
was go on the road with Bruce and and ride the wagon to the
Yeah.
retirement pasture and everything. And who knows? Hey, maybe you never know.
You
You
never
never
know.
never say never. I
Yeah.
know that my husband is the most kind, sweet, understanding, and forgiving person, and
Mhm.
has he can see the big picture, and a lot of times that others can't. And I think he would be really open. I know Neil would love to have a farewell tour as well as Alan Gratzer. So
Yeah.
you never know. But if that doesn't happen, we've really been enjoying recording music together with
Yeah.
the daughter Sarah in Champaign,
Oh
and
yeah.
we were thinking about like how cool it would be to like maybe do like have Bruce re-record all of his songs acoustically or do a kids record
Oh my
or
gosh.
just little things like that.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
we've been doing a lot of things with our best friends own a magical vacation planner. It's
Hmm.
a travel agency. It's the number one Disney one. So we met them in Club
Nice.
33 and we became fast best friends. And
Yeah.
so we love doing things with them. And, we've got two granddaughters in Los Angeles and, Penny's
Yeah.
here in Florida. And then Timmy will be in the middle of the country. So we're just gonna,
Lots of places to go.
yes,
And if
yes,
you dare to come to Wisconsin, you can always come here.
there we go.
Maybe just bring everybody with you, and then you don't have to worry
Yes.
about.
And then I won't have to worry about
Yeah.
anybody. Is there
Yeah.
fishing there? Well, we can go fishing there.
Oh,
That's
there's fishing there. Yes, there's fishing here. Yes, and I'm married to one that likes to go fishing all the time. So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, boy,
So,
I understand that. The fish
yes,
musician
you know.
and love to fish. I'm sure we'll be
Yep.
fishing somewhere. And
Yep. I love it.
yeah, he
That's
loves
amazing. Oh my God.
fishing in the cars and golf.
And golf. Does he go, has he ever gone ice fishing?
I don't think so.
Oh, so if he
Hmm.
ever comes in the winter, if he really wants to do something different, yes, Dave will take him ice fishing.
Okay, and we'll stay in the house.
Yes. Or we could, yeah, yeah. I'll drink hot toddies and they can go do that.
Sounds beautiful.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I just feel like we could just keep going here, but we gotta end it sometime. But is there anything you'd like to leave the listeners with before we say goodbye? Any messages or takeaways?
We already touched on it. I think what my that manager told me that time is to just be yourself and when you're authentic and true to who you are and be truthful. I sit there and I think Disney has these values that I try and live by to this day and always, whether I had my name tag on or not, but it's,
Mhm.
integrity, trust, honesty. If you live your life like that, and be who you are, then you don't have to pretend. You don't have to worry about what story you told here and try to remember. I think just be yourself, especially to kids that are starting to like interview in interviews and, you know, be your genuine self because you don't want to sell somebody that you're not and then set yourself up for failure. But you have confidence. See yourself in the mirror the way that your mom and dad see you, the way that your best friend sees you, the way that, the one person that you know you are. Just have that confidence. You don't have to be cocky, but you can be confident. And if your name is Kimmie Sue, then don't change it to Kim or Kimberly.
No, be Kimmie Sue.
Yes, yes. Be
Oh,
magical.
be
Be
magical.
magical.
Well,
Yes.
Kimmie, you are so magical, and you've just been so wonderful to us at my family and especially our girls. And I just thank you so much. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
It was. I can't wait to see you very, very soon.
Yay. Let's rock.
Yay. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Midlife with Courage. If you liked what you heard, there's 3 things you can do. And guess what? They're all free. You can leave a review. You can follow the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. And you can send this episode to a friend. Any of those 3 would be so appreciated. Until next time, take care of your beautiful self.